and I will go for my screen sharing. Yeah, we are into recording mode now. Yes, again the same default question. Am I audible? Am I visible? And is my screen shareable? Anybody can confirm in the chat box for me? Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Coming back to the things here. So in the previous class, we studied about set jump and long jump, right? That is what, again, I'll just brush up it because long time we shared it. We studied about the set jump and long jump functions. I told you when set jump and long jump will be used. It is used only when you are jumping across the functions. It can use within the functions also, okay? Nothing like that it cannot be used within the functions. It can be used within the functions only, but moreover it is used to jump across the functions. So why it is used across the functions is because whenever you are doing something system level programming, maybe a coding for some drivers and all, that time you may come across errors, and rather than your system shutting it down, you can actually jump to a safe location. So please keep this in mind, okay? The use of set jump and long jump is used when you do a system level programming, so that if any concept goes wrong, rather than terminating the program, you will jump to a safe location. So that is one example, okay? One use of set jump and long jump. That is what we studied in the previous classes, how set jump works. So whenever a set jump is called initially, it assigns 0. So it obviously goes to the next part and it starts executing on the next statement. And whenever a long jump is encountered, from long jump, it directly jumps to a location. Maybe it is a function within a function or within a main function, wherever it is. Wherever the first set jump was encountered, it directly jumps from this location to the location specified here. So once it jumps here, it starts it. Now, whenever set jump is encountered after long jump, it has a value which is a positive value. So now it becomes a positive value, and this prints I'm printing, then else part is not executed, it directly returns the value. This is what we studied in the previous class about set jump and long jump. Now the next thing, okay, before going to this presentation, if you can see here now, the next thing what I want to say is, see, for example, what best example I can take it now? Okay, take an example of your smartphone now. Okay, there are n number of resources in your smartphone, but you have limitations for your resources, right? See a simple example I'll tell you for limitations. Okay, there are n number of resources on your smartphone. For example, if you get a forward message which is in WhatsApp, if it is many times it is forwarded, and when you try to forward it to n number, it will not get forwarded, right? It gets only forwarded for a single person. See, practical example I'm talking. If you get a forwarded message which is forwarded many times, you get two types of slant arrows like, and the same message if you try to forward to 3-4 people, it shows that since this message is forwarded many times, you can only send to a single receiver, right? Now what is happening here in your WhatsApp? It is limiting you, right? The forwarded message can be sent only for one user. Now this is a limit for you. The resource is what? Forwarding. But it is limiting you only for a single user. Take a simple example now. If you are sending an image or something on a WhatsApp, it will allow you maximum 5 people, right? It will not allow you more than 5 people. See. If you want to send for the 6th person, again you have to complete that first 5, then take the next. So what is happening here, or what the main basic fund of me to tell here is, whenever you use any system resources, there are limitations for the system resources also. There are limitations on the system resources, right? But you can still modify the system resources. Simple example, when you're attending one call, you will not attend a next call. A limitation, but still you can do it is like keep the first call on hold basis and let the other person talk with you. You can modify that, or else you can get both the people in the conference room where all three can communicate with each other, right? So same way, see, this is just for your understanding, okay? Your system has a number of resources. Take example of your hard disk now. Your hard disk, the resource may be a memory, maybe one of the resources, RAM may be another resources, processor may be another resources. So all these three are resources of your system. Okay, now talking technically for you. All these three are resources of your system. So what happens is, since your RAM is of 4 GB, you can keep on accessing till it maximum limit is reached, which is 4 GB. So if it goes beyond that, then your system becomes slower. Your system will not respond. That means the resource which was given to you, the RAM, 4 GB capacity, you have exhausted it. So beyond that, you can't use it. Or else, if you're using RAM, it has a minimum capacity, it has a maximum value. You have to use within that range only. You can't cross the ranges. So same way, when you are working on Unix system programming, there are n number of resources with Unix. CPU may be one of the resources, memory may be one of the resources, RAM may be another resources. Now, which you studied in the first class, the number of files which are opened. So all this becomes the resources of Unix operating system. So what we are studying here is, if these are the resources, now I want to know what is the minimum value of the resources and what is the maximum value of the resources I can utilize. The minimum and maximum value, because resources are there, but what are their values now? Getting it? What are their values? How will you understand the values of your system now? For example, now, if I keep a laptop in front of you and if I tell you, give me the configuration of your laptop. Directly by looking at the laptop, you won't give me. Yes? If I just keep a laptop in front of you and if I ask you, please give me the configuration of your laptop, then very difficult for you to tell it. And what would you do? What would you do? You directly may go to My Computers, right click, Properties. Now this is where you can give me. Yeah. So the processor is Core 2 Duo, sir. RAM is 4 GB. System is 64-bit operating system, and all. So what are this? These are the resources which are given to you by the system, right? Same way, Unix also has a set of resources with it, and all those resources you can at any point of time, at runtime, I mean to say, you can come to know what are the values of the resources. What is the minimum RAM given to you? What are the minimum number of files you can open? Or what are the maximum number of files you can open? See, for example, if you want to send a text message also, minimum character you have to type is 1 character. Maybe a emoji or whatever it is, you have to type only 1 character. I'm talking about a message, okay? And if you type about maximum characters, it has 182 or 162 characters or 142 characters. If it goes 144 character, it becomes the second message. So when you're typing a message, the minimum character it should have is 1. And the maximum character it can have is 142 or 162. Right? These are the values. A resource is what? Message sending is a resource. Now for that, what are the minimum and maximum values? Minimum is 1 character, maximum is 162 characters. After that, it becomes the third character, right? Same way in Unix also now, you have n number of resources with you. You have n number of resources with you. And at any point of time, you can come to know the resource values, what are the values assigned to your resources, and also you can change the values of the resources. So that is what we'll be studying under the next unit. Subunit is get R limit and set R limit. So get R limit and set R limit are the functions which can be used to come to know at runtime what are the limit values which are assigned for the process, and what are the maximum values and what is the minimum value of that limit value. Yeah, you can come to know, and that can be what the system calls known as get R limit and set R limit. See, you have memory as one of the resources. What's the memory given for each process? I don't know. Number of files, how many files I can open? Maybe I don't know. What are the minimum number of files I can open? Maximum number of files I can open? I don't know. So all these resources you can come to know at runtime by using the functions get R limit and set R limit. So what all it has here, every process has a set of resource limit. So there are a number of resources and it has resource limit. Please students, look at this point. It has resource limits, which means that it cannot go beyond less than that or it cannot go more than that. So every resource has a limit for it. and that can be got by the system called get R limit and set R limit. Now, how I can get it? The definition of get R limit and set R limit is defined in sys/resource.h header file. The meaning of get R limit and set R limit is defined in sys/resource.h header file. Now, what all get R limit has? Get R limit has two parameters. One is, the first is the resource name. Which resource, which is in the next slide, okay? Let's understand first the syntax. The first attribute is the resource name. For which resource name you want to get the limit. So the second parameter is a structure which tells you for the specific resource what is the current value given to you and what is the maximum value, which is nothing but a structure defined by struct R limit. Here, struct R limit is second parameter is a structure which defines two structure members. One is the current value. What is the current value of that resource, which is nothing but the current limit. We usually call it as a soft limit. And the second parameter is the maximum value, which we call it as the hard limit. That is the maximum value of the limit. So if at all I want to get the resource, its current value and what is the maximum value I can use it, I can always do it by the system called get R limit. So it has two parameters. First is the resource name, which is in the very next slide. Okay, I'll tell you. See here. Okay, I'll go here. Yeah, here. Now these are the n number of resources which are given to the table here. Okay. R limit. This is the limit is predefined. Okay. R limit underscore AS. That is the maximum size in bytes of a process total available memory. So whenever a process is executing, it has memory. So what is the maximum memory which a process can be allocated? We can get by the limit value R limit underscore AS, and it varies from system to system. Okay, probably what might happen is, now down the lane I may show you a working example of my laptop. When you try the same program on your laptop, maybe your memory may be varying, okay, because it goes from system to system. Resource limit of the system which you are using it, and it is not fixed. Please remember, limit values are not constant or not fixed. They vary from system to system. The second limit value is R limit underscore core. That is the maximum size in bytes of a core file. So this indicates what's the maximum size in bytes of a core file. That is the file which you are using it. R limit underscore CPU, which means that the maximum amount of CPU time in seconds. So CPU time is given for a process to be executing. So what is the maximum time you can get for a process for its execution? If I want to know that at the runtime, I can use the limit value R limit underscore CPU. Next limit value is R limit underscore data. That is the maximum size in bytes of the data segment. The sum of initialized data, uninitialized data, and heap. Here, data segment we studied in memory layout of a C program. The firstmost layer is a data segment, which maintains a single copy of the machine executed instructions. So what is the maximum size given to that? Maybe the size maximum given is 1 MB, but at current you are using only 0.5 MB. So that can be got it by the current limit. See here. Okay, let's take this example itself. Look at this. R limit underscore data. So how much memory is given to data segment? It's a fixed size. Okay, and that can be got if we can pass here, like first attribute may be R limit underscore data, and the second will be the structure, which holds two parameters, the current limit. Assume that for data segment we have 1 MB space given. So the maximum value should display me as 1 MB, and the current value should display me out of 1 MB how much value you are using. That is what it means by the second parameter. Okay, and the next limit is R limit underscore F size. That is the maximum size in bytes of a file may be created. Okay, so when you are creating a file, what's the maximum size the file can hold it? It cannot hold more than the specified size by the system. See, even your Gmail has, right? You can attach up to 25 MB in your Gmail, but if it goes more than 25 MB, you can't attach a file directly. Then you have to share it in a drive, right? Same thing happens here also. So when you're creating a file, what's the maximum file size. Then you have R limit underscore logs. That is the maximum number of file logs a process can hold. For example, there's a read log and write log. We know now. So, given a file, the maximum number of file logs it can hold. How many logs it can hold? Probably it can hold only 5 logs. So max value is 5 and current value is the number of logs imposed at that point. Please don't get confused, okay? Current value is out of the maximum, how much you are utilizing at that time. See, for example, you have RAM of 4 GB given to you, right? But at any point of time, you don't utilize the entire 4 GB memory space. RAM, right? At runtime, you only use a part of it. So the part of it, what you use is the current limit, and the maximum value is nothing but the hard limit. Yeah. So that is what. Again, you have R limit underscore no file. That is number of files. That is the maximum number of open files per process. So you are running a process in which you can run n number of, again, you can open n number of different files. There is a system called Open API, which we studied in the lab term work, file and record logging. So at that time, when a process is running, maximum number of files, how much it can open, it can got by the limit value R limit underscore no file. And these are nothing but the resource values, okay? So whenever a process is running, how many files a process can open? I don't know now. I may say 3, 4, but I want to know from the system. So this can give you a value that at this point you can open 10 files, but at right now you are using or opening only 3 or 4 files, which is got by this limit value. And there is last limit value R limit underscore n proc. That is the maximum number of child process per real user ID. That is, now this you will understand when I teach on Saturday a term work. That is, which is called as a race condition. They will understand how a fork works, okay? Fork system call, FORK system call is used to create the child process, okay? So when a process is running, it can create its child process also. So when a process is there, how many child process it can create and all that. Also it has a limit. It cannot cross the limit given to it. A process can create maximum 4 or 5 child process, not more than that. If all you want to create, again, it has to remove one child and add another child process, right? So these are some of the resources which are predefined in the system for you, like the maximum size in bytes of the process, total available memory. So when you're running a process, a memory segment is given to a process. I told in memory layout of a C program, some block of memory is given. So what is the maximum block size given to it? Maybe a block size of 10 MB is given. But when you're running a process, maybe not full 10 MB you're using it. Maybe you're using only 2 MB of it. So current value becomes 2 MB. R limit current value becomes 2 MB and max value becomes 10 MB. Now, how will I come to know this? From the system. When I ask the system, how will I ask to the system? By the system called get R limit. Okay. So please remember, get R limit has 2 parameters. First is the resource name. So here, if at all, for example, chalo, I want to know how many child process I can create. So I should give the first argument as R limit underscore n proc. So if I give this as the first argument, it comes here. R limit underscore. I'll just show it in the text box also for you now. Open a notepad. If at all I want to know that, what I'll do is I'll just type here like this: get R limit in bracket. I'll just specify the limit name here. That is in caps only, okay? R limit. I'll show in the program later on, okay? I'm just telling you. N proc. So see. Now here, maximum number of open files. So let's work with that only now. Maximum number of open files. So now process is running. How many files it can open at runtime? I don't know the value now. I don't know the value. Let system tell me how many files it can open. So first value will be R limit underscore number of files, and second limit will be the parameter for this structure, whatever the name I give. So for example, I'll give the structure name as star limit. Now in the star limit, I have 2 parameters. One is lim dot current value, which will give me the current value, and I have lim dot max, which gives me the maximum value of the number of files. So for example, it may have like this. So this may be 10 and this may be 2, which means that at runtime, the number of files you can open for a process is maximum is 10. You're fetching it from the system, okay? Maximum is 10. But at right now, how many files you have opened? You have opened 2 files. That is what it tells me. Is this clear? Get R limit. I'll show you in the example later on. Demonstrate only, I'll tell you. What I mean by get R limit? So there are n number of limits available for your system. But I want to know the value at runtime. What's the value? So those value can be got at runtime by querying the system. How can I query the system? By the system called get R limit. Same thing happens with your mobile battery also. So your battery can maximum charge to, the battery is one of the resource of your mobile phone. Maximum it can charge to 100. So the max value is 100. Now at any point, if you look at your battery, becomes your current value. Yes, and how will you look at? Now you have icons on your mobile phones, somewhere like this. It shows you. By looking at this, will tell me what's the percentage of your battery. True. So when you look at, you are looking at your mobile phone. That means you're querying it. Yeah. So current now my battery is 95%. Maximum it can go to 100. So current value is 95. Maximum value is 100. Getting this, everyone? Understood, everyone? In the chat box for me. Get R limit. Anybody in the chat box for me? Yes, sir. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Now again coming back here. Okay. So this is what I said. See. Get R limit is used to query. Query means ask the system at runtime. What are the values I'm using it? On similar basis, you have set R limit. Now, what does set R limit do? Set R limit, if the resources are allocated, which are you think that which is minimum, you can change the value. You can assign more resources like that. So set R limit is used to set new values to the already assigned values. Please remember this. Set R limit is used to assign new values to already set values. And what are the parameters again? It is again same two parameters. First is the resource name, and second is the structure, where you explicitly specify the current value and the maximum value. So this two specifies as a pointer to the structure, which tells that set R limit will set new values to the existing limit, whereas get R limit will get the limit values at the runtime. But again, there are some things to be remembered. So whenever you are changing the resource limit, okay, please remember the two things. First and the foremost thing is only a super user can change the limit values, because resources are at the system level. Only if you have a root privileges, then only you can work with get R limit and set R limit. But if you are not at the root level, you are at the user level, then you can't change the resource limit values. Please remember this, okay? So what are the rules when you're changing? A process can change its soft limit value to a value less than or equal to its hard limit value. Very true. See the first rule. A process can change its soft limit value to a value less than or equal to its hard limit value. Yeah, see, now this I mean to say. For example, if a process has hard limit value equal to 100, so what you can do, you can change the soft limit value. See, a process can change its soft limit value to a value less than or equal to its hard limit value. For example, now soft limit value is, assume that 10. So you can change by the system called set R limit the value of soft limit to a value which is less than or equal to hard limit. Okay, now you can't make it as 200 because maximum value is only 100, and how can you make it a 200? So the first rule says that whenever you are changing a soft limit value, it should be to a value less than or equal to hard limit value. Even this also works. The soft limit and hard limit, that is the current value and the maximum value is 100, which works. So this is the first rule. A process can change its soft limit value to a value less than or equal to its hard limit value. What does the second rule says now? A process can lower its hard limit value. A process can lower its hard limit value to a value greater than or equal to its soft limit. Very true. Now see, if soft limit is 100, then now hard limit value can be less. You can reduce it to a value which should be greater than or equal to soft limit, but not less than this. Now you can see, right now, as I said, I can open maximum of 100 files, but right now I have opened only 10 files. So why should I waste the memory? What I'll do is internal reduce this also, because maximum I know I can open 10 files. I can keep it 50. So you can reduce the value of hard limit. You can reduce the value of hard limit to a value greater than or equal to soft limit, but not less than that. Now you can't make it hard limit as 5, because minimum value current value is only 10, and how can you make the maximum as 5? So these are the rules. Okay, please remember these rules. Okay, in the exams usually they ask, explain what is get R limit and set R limit, the various limit values, the rules for setting get R limit and get R limit and set R limit, along with a sample program. So if you look at the textbook, the program they have made it very messy. I have added a very simple program here for you. Okay, so please remember this rule. Okay, you can get the limit values of your system at any point of time by the system called get R limit. Get R limit will give you at runtime how much resources you are using, which also tells me how much resource you are using currently and what is the maximum size you can use it. That can be got by the system called get R limit. Similarly, set R limit. Set R limit is used to set new values to the resources. Again, set R limit can set new values, but to do that, if at all you want changing the resource limit, you should follow this 3 rules. First and the foremost thing is only a super user can do the changes. Only a super user can do these changes on the system. Second value is if you are changing a soft limit value, it should be less than or equal to its hard limit. It can't cross beyond that. First rule. Similarly, when you are changing a hard limit value, it can be greater than or equal to its soft limit value, but not less than. Okay, this is clear. Now look at the program. Okay, I hope this is clear now, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Understood now. Simple words, please remember. At runtime, if I want to know the system resources, here, okay, take a simple example now. You can just open your mobile phone also. You have how much of the memory is utilized by each of the app from morning to you? Can you tell me right now? You can't see. You have mobile phones with you now? You have data pack, it probably Geo or something, it renewed at 12 a.m. sorry. Now, how much of the memory is utilized by each app? How will you come to know that? How will you come to know that? How will you come to know that? Yeah. So I'll go to this. I'll go to performance mode here. Then it will show me. It will show me here how much of the memory is utilized. Right. So what it does, it's showing you at runtime. You want to know how much of the memory is utilized by each app. Maybe if you're on Insta, much of the memory is used, right? Yeah. See, 2 GB memory is with you. Now memory is what? A resource. 2 GB data is a resource for you from your mobile phone. You keep on accessing Insta, Facebook, WhatsApp. Okay. 3 apps I'm meant to say. At any point of time, can you tell me how much memory is utilized by each app? Looking at your mobile phone. You can't. You can't. What will you do? Probably you may go to settings, memory, and there you check it. It will show you, right? How much memory it is used and all. Right? It will show you. Like that, same thing happens with the system also. At system, there are n number of resources. At any point of time, which resource is used by or how much resource is used, I can't tell you. But all I want to know that I'll get it by the system called get R limit. And if I want to change the new values, I'll use set R limit. Okay, let's look at the programming part of it now. Okay, this is okay. Now see here, look at the code here, what I'm doing. So there are n number of resources. Okay, so what I'm doing is, you can use any, okay. I'll using number of files, the maximum number of open files per process. So now my system, and this is the system which I'm working. I want to know how many number of files I can open by per process. It varies from your system to system. Okay. So this I want to know. So what is my resource limit now? R limit underscore no file. Okay. I'll come here. I'm doing everything in a single program only. Okay. So all these are header files which are not required. I've just copied it because it is always better to be on a safer side, because some people may work on Ubuntu, some people may work on Fedora, some people may work on Red Hat. US header files by default works on all this, but basically this works in sys/resource.h. So what I'll do is I'll define a structure. So what I've done here is I've defined a structure, three structures. One is old limit, that is what are the limit values currently given to it. I'll assign the new limit values and I'll check with the new value. So I've defined three structures. Old underscore limit, which will show me which are the limits currently used, that is the number of processes, what are the current number of processes and the maximum number of processes allocated. Then I have assigned one more, which will assign the new values, and this structure will display me the new values, just like what I said, like the previous one. Set jump and long jump, right? Get env and this we have to always call it. Okay, so I've defined three structures here. So if I want to get the old limit, so what I'll do is initially see here it says if both it successfully. Since I'm working on a super user mode or root mode, probably error may not encountered, may encounter only if you made a spelling mistake or something. So when they're executed successfully, they write 0 and non-zero on other cases. Okay, so let's come here. Assuming that it is executed successfully. So if get tar limit, the function call. Now at runtime, I want to know how many files I can open, maximum number of files. So the limit value is r limit underscore no file, the first parameter, all in caps, comma. This is a pointer, as I said. So ampersand old limit. So I'm passing this pointer is equal to 0, true, because when it's successfully executed, it writes 0, true. And I'll just print a message old limit equal to. I have to get soft limit, that is the current value, and I have to get it the hard limit value. So how will I get the soft limit value? That is old underscore limit. It has two parameters. So the structure has two members. So one is current and second one is max. So I'll specify the structure name as old underscore limit dot. We know how to access a structure member by the operator dot. So old underscore limit dot rlim underscore cur. Why rlim underscore cur, sir? Because here it I have showed see rlim underscore cur. So the structure name is old underscore limit. So I'll access it by old underscore limit dot rlim underscore cur, which I'm doing. Structure name is old underscore limit. So old underscore limit dot rlim underscore cur. So what does this do? This will fetch the current value of the resource, that is number of files, and display in soft limit. Similarly, old underscore lim dot rlim underscore max. So this will fetch me the maximum value which is given to this. Okay. So probably this will display me that part. So let's check whether this is working perfectly for me first now. Only that part. Okay. We'll work with initially get our limit only now. Again, I have okay. Okay. Let's see with only this part here now. I'll just look at this part here. I just want to get the limits of the function. Sorry, I'll just keep it the same code what I wrote here. Okay. I've defined a structure. I've made this comment. Okay. Let's see one by one. Get r limit underscore no file, comma, ampersand old limit, because since it's a pointer, I'll use ampersand symbol. If successfully executed, it comes here. Printf old limit is equal to soft limit. I'm displaying the value of soft limit. How will I get it? Old underscore limit dot rlim underscore cur. Old underscore lim dot is the concept to access the member of a structure dot rlim. So the current value is stored in soft limit, and old underscore lim dot rlim underscore max. That is the maximum value stored in the hard limit. Let's see how it works now. For the number of here, rlim underscore no file is nothing but the number of files a process can open. Let's see. Orally I can't tell, see, but here the system which I am using now, okay, for that the soft limit is 1024. That is the number of open files are how much? 1024 for me. And what is the maximum number of files I can open in my system? It is also 1024. Now this goes with my system. This goes with my system. Maybe you may get a different value on your system if you execute this. Okay. So see, if you want any other, let's try for any other now. Okay. rlim underscore data. We'll try. Okay. Let's see for data. I'll just change this later on. rlim underscore data. Okay, so this is the resource value. Okay, so let's see how much is the data utilized for me. Okay. It is -1 because since I'm working on a virtual machine, it's showing -1 for me. Okay, so r limit underscore no file. So this is how to get the resource limit values. Okay. Now what I'll do is, once I got that value, now I'll change the new value. That is in the same program I'm working with how set limit works also. Okay. So here what I'm doing is, so this is displaying me the current resource value. So I want to change it to new. So what I'll do is, I'll take a structure limit dot rlim underscore cur. So what does this do? It assigns a new value to the soft limit. Cur indicates the soft limit. So initially it was 1024 here, but now it is assigning 3 for it. And r limit underscore maximum, it is assigning 1024 because maximum is only 1024. Okay. The rule says you can't go beyond that. You can't reduce it less than this. Okay. So this is what I have set it. Now what I should do is, I have given this, but this has to be set here. How will I set it? By the system called set r limit. Set r limit underscore no file, number of files, and I'm passing this structure here. When this structure is passed here, the soft limit value is given as 3 and hard limit value is given as 1024. But again, if I want to know that whether it is really set or not, again I should call get r limit. Please remember that. Okay, once you set it, it will be set and kept there. But if at all you want to view it, you should always go again for set r limit. Sorry, get r limit. So again, call get r limit underscore no file, and new limit. Now I'm just passing a new parameter here, new limit, just to display it. Okay, since it is set here, I'm just using a different naming conventions. Equal to 0, as I said, if it is true, it writes 0. Then again print new limit, which is a soft limit, is nothing but new underscore limit dot rlim underscore cur. So this 3 should be assigned here, and new limit underscore limit dot rlim underscore max, which is 1024, should be assigned here. This is my assumptions. So let's see whether this is working for me now. So since I've commented here, so this is what I did here. Okay, this was clear, which I got it, the previous value. Now what I'll do is I'll set the new values. So for number of open files, the current value I'll set it as 10. You can set it any value, okay? And the maximum value, which was 1024, now I'll set it to 100. Up to me. You can set any values. So this will assign to the limit values. So once it is assigned to this structure, I'll call set r limit. So set r limit, what set? The number of open files. Now what is the new value which is passed in the structure limit? So such as 2 member, this 10 and 100 are passed here. So once it is passed here, I'll call now get r limit. Again, if it is equal to 0, as I said, if it is executing successfully, it writes 0. True, then whatever the member first is fetched and assigned to the first member function, new underscore limit dot r limit underscore cur. The second value is assigned to the class name 1125. Okay, okay. And the next is assigned to r limit underscore max. Okay. Let's see now how this works. Hoping it should work. I got some errors. Just a minute. What error did I get here now? Get our limit. Closing bracket, closing bracket. It's correct here. Just a minute. Okay, got it. Okay, I'll just tell you how this works now. Because what did I do here is I've already changed the values here. Come to new project. Still, meanwhile, students, just one more thing. I'll be just taking one class this, and the next class will be taken by Girish sir, OMD, which is at 11:20. Okay. Please make a note of it. The next class is at 11:20. Okay, which Girish sir will continue now, because again, as I said, the next question which I want to cover will take a lot of time for me now. So Girish sir will take the next class at 11:20. Okay, so I'll just take for another 5 minutes for you. And the next class, which is of Unix, is again taken by Girish sir for you. Okay. Just a minute, I'm just checking this code here. Because when you're working with the memory, you should be very stable here, okay? Because if anything goes wrong, your system will not respond you properly. And since I'm working on a virtual machine, it is very difficult for me to do the configuration and all everything. So it should work for me now. Let's see. Meanwhile, you can just answer this quiz for me, okay? I'll just take your attendance. Post in the chat box for you people. Meanwhile, just give your attendance for me. I'll just check this. Something has gone wrong. Okay, just a minute, I'll just check this. But the code is correct, okay? Because since I'm working on a virtual machine, it's giving me this problem. The code which I gave in the presentation is also 100% correct, okay? No problem with the code here. Only is correct. Yeah, it worked for me. Oh, sorry. I got it now. Yeah. Yes. I've got it. Okay, just a minute. What mistake I did, I'll just tell you now. get R limit is equal to 0. Okay. Yeah, I'll just go to the sharing mode here. Your entire screen, I'll share it. Yeah. Just a minute. I'll just show the output for you now. Yeah. Now look at this output. See. Initially, the get R limit, the soft limit was 1024, hard limit value was 1024. So what did I do at runtime now? I have changed the soft limit value to 10 and the hard limit value to 100. And whether it is reflected now at the runtime now, let's check here. Soft limit value became 10, hard limit value became 100. So this is more useful when you are writing a process. Okay, in the runtime, these functions are very useful because when you're doing at the system level coding, when you go for system level coding, right, this is very important for you. Okay, so please remember this. Got it, everyone? Yes, I hope get R limit and set R limit is clear for you. Yeah. In the exam, they can ask, explain get R limit and set R limit. So you should define it, give the syntax, explain the limit values, and the same program what I gave, which covers everything about it. Okay. So shall we stop? Yes, students, shall we stop? I hope you all got this concept. Anybody in the chat box for me? People are answering the quiz. That is just for attendance purpose. Okay. Yes, Chetan, thank you. You responded first for me. Okay, yeah, thank you. Have a good day, everyone. So next class, please, a reminder, next class is at 11:20, which will be taken by Girish sir, okay? I'm not continuing the Unix class next. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you one and all. Have a nice day. Stop the recording.